You've heard the whispers, and now it's official. The era of the US dollar's dominance is fading into the history books, and the world is set for a monumental change. Brace yourselves, because in the next video we'll unravel the story of how BRICS, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, managed to bring the dollar hegemony to its knees, and what this means for the world at large. Picture this: a world where the power isn't concentrated in one dominant currency. A world where nations can foster their own currencies without the fear of being held hostage by economic restrictions. That's the world we're moving towards, and it's all thanks to BRICS' relentless efforts. But how did they do it? Before we dive into the how, let's tackle the why. What motivated BRICS to challenge the status quo? The primary objective was to challenge the supremacy of the US dollar as the world's primary reserve currency. For decades, the dollar enjoyed this position, providing the United States with numerous economic advantages. However, this came at a cost for BRICS countries' vulnerability to external shocks and sanctions. To mitigate this, they set out to develop a special drawing rights SDR-like basket currency unique to BRICS nations. This move towards autonomy is essential for ensuring economic stability and resilience. The combined GDP of BRICS countries now exceeds that of the G7, and they represent over 40% of the global population. By reducing their reliance on the US dollar and promoting the use of local currencies in trade, BRICS countries could become a self-sufficient and influential economic alliance. This is where the real game begins. BRICS countries actively promoted the use of their currencies in bilateral trade. China and Russia, for example, have been conducting trade in their respective currencies, the yuan and the ruble, rather than relying on the US dollar. This not only strengthens their local currencies but also reduces their dependence on the dollar. In 2014, BRICS took a monumental step by establishing the New Development Bank, NDB, a direct challenge to institutions like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. The NDB provided funding for infrastructure and sustainable development projects in emerging economies. This initiative fosters financial independence and strengthens BRICS' position in international financial affairs. The creation of a BRICS-issued currency is a long-term and ambitious goal, but it could significantly reduce the dominance of the US dollar within BRICS and provide a stable asset for international trade. This would mark a giant leap toward financial independence. Now, let's shift our focus to the impact of dethroning the dollar, not just on the United States, but also on Europe. The US dollar's global reserve currency status has been a substantial advantage, allowing the United States to borrow in its own currency, leading to lower borrowing costs. If the dollar were to lose its dominant status, the U.S. might face higher borrowing costs, reduced access to capital, and lower stock market values. These changes could also impact Europe, given its significant trade and financial ties with the U.S. However, this isn't just about the West. The decline of the dollar hegemony could lead to a shift in global power dynamics, potentially resulting in a more multipolar financial world. Emerging economies like China, India, and Brazil could gain more influence in global affairs. The US and Europe's roles might diminish, requiring them to adapt to the evolving international landscape. The US dollar's dominance has allowed the US to wield sanctions effectively as a foreign policy tool. If the dollar loses its hegemonic status, the US may need to rely more on alternative means to exert its influence, impacting its geopolitical position. Europe, as a close US ally, might also be affected by these changes in the global geopolitical landscape. Here's the real game changer: China's vision. China isn't seeking to replace the dollar's global dominance with its currency. Instead, it's working to strengthen the yuan within its region by using local Chinese institutions and organizations with neighboring countries. This move ensures that China can access global markets even during international tensions and helps other nations empower their own currencies. In a world free from dollar hegemony, no single nation can hold others hostage through sanctions, promoting financial independence for all. This isn't just beneficial for China or BRICS, it's a win for the entire world. Before we wrap up, we'd like to hear your thoughts. Do you believe dethroning the dollar is good for the world? How do you think the U.S. used dollar hegemony to its advantage? Can any nation gain currency dominance, and should they, even if it's China? Share your opinions in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated on China's phenomenal development and growing influence, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Until the next episode, stay innovative and informed.